Hello, you're watching news from Kazakhstan. It is Saturday, December 1st. Trial over Vzglyad newspaper starts in Almaty. Along with others, this publication is accused of promoting a violent overthrow of the constitutional regime. Our correspondents noted that despite the case's controversial nature, the first hearing passed too casually.
The first court hearing against newspaper Vzglyad lasted for only a half an hour. Despite the public outcry, only a few reporters and human rights activists from Adilsos Foundation came to support their colleagues. The trial started off with prosecution charges complete with key evidence represented by excerpts from the newspaper's articles. Olesya Sholkova, the deputy editor-in-chief of the newspaper, was allowed to respond. We were doing our job and nothing more. Besides, the quotes mentioned in the case files were actually third-party comments, for which we cannot be responsible because they were in fact publicly made statements. Being a non-public figure, the prosecutor requested to ban video recordings in the courtroom, and Judge Tatiana Chernysh granted the motion. The defense team insisted on inviting officials of the Communication Ministry to the trial, as the supervising authority has previously instructed the agency to stop the circulation of the newspaper in the country pending court decision. It is unclear how could the prosecutor's office instruct the Ministry of Information and Culture to take such measures, since it is not in its power. It actually instructed the ministry to block online sources such as Facebook, even though its owner resides abroad. With no answers to these questions, the trial moved to the expert examination of newspaper articles presented as the basis of the claim. It immediately became clear that the defense was never told the results of the examination, which prompted it to file a motion to invite the experts who conducted the psychological and linguistic analysis of the case materials. A few days ago, following the prosecutor's ban on the distribution of the newspaper Vzglyad, it still went into extremely limited circulation, rebranded as Ne Vzglyad, not Vzglyad. Court officers, though, reacted immediately and confiscated all 99 published copies, and later attempted to break into the editorial office to search the premises, and only left failing to break down the door. The next hearing on the case is scheduled for December 14th. Until then, the reporters of the newspaper are on sabbatical leave.
Hearings in the case over K+ channel's alleged extremist activities were set to begin in Almaty's Bostandik court on Friday, but were rescheduled for December 5th. The official reason for the change of plans was Judge Jarmakhan Umarov's illness.
On November 20th, Almaty prosecutor's office appealed to city courts asking to officially recognize the party Alga and association Khalik Maydani as extremist organizations and subsequently ban them across Kazakhstan. Other claims seek to shut down Vzglyad and Respublika newspapers, as well as their websites, along with K+ and Stan TV channels. The Prosecutor General's office referred to the recent verdict to the leader of the party Alga, Vladimir Kozlov, charged with inciting social hatred in Zhanaozen. The court decision infers that the contents shown on K+ allegedly aims at inciting social hatred as well. K+ first appeared in 2007 as a satellite broadcaster covering political and social life in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and other Central Asian states. On Friday, the leadership of the company commented on the recent development. The authorities of Kazakhstan aren't really interested in having a legal investigation into the matter. It's not about the defendant or the trial and fair judgment. It's important for them to get a court ruling labeling K+ as extremist, which would allow them to simply block its internet and other resources. It is simply a practical political issue that they are trying to solve by all legal and illegal means. Just look at the situation with the party Alga. There is no legal entity that they could actually take to court. The same with Khalik Maydani. Whereas with K+, they failed to even deliver the company a legal notification because, as I mentioned earlier, they're not really looking for defendants, whether a person or organization. It's a mere formality to get a court decision to ban these media sources.
Members of the Department of the Judiciary seized copies of Azad newspaper in Almaty's retail outlets. Witnesses say bailiffs offered no documentation to salespeople authorizing them to conduct this operation. Here is what one of the merchants had to say.
I don't have the document. It was confiscated. The publication ended up in the spotlight after it printed several articles written by reporters of the newspaper Golos Respubliki, recently axed by state prosecutors on extremism charges. On Friday, Golos Respubliki editors revealed their outlet's materials can be found in Azad. The announcement immediately provoked a reaction from officials. Previously, on November 21st, the Almaty's prosecutor's office filed a lawsuit to recognize 8 newspapers and 23 websites as a single media entity under Golos Respubliki umbrella and ban its production and distribution in Kazakhstan for allegedly promoting extremism. For every absurdity of officials, we have an equal response, which in this case was the publishing of our articles in Azad. I was personally given the notification that we cannot publish our newspaper, but there is no single word about Azad. This means its publication was and remains legal.
Head of Northern Ireland's United State Employees Union and member of the Committee for Workers International, Patrick Mulholland, visited Kazakhstan. He spoke with the wife of the deceased worker, Nikolai Gnatyuk. Early this year, the man died after a mine explosive detonated inside his friend's apartment. Satpai town police attempted to shut down the case twice, and Mulholland was unable to get any answers either. He was stopped by security officers.
Patrick Mulholland had a meeting with workers, trade union members and retired metalwork engineers at the company Kazakhstan Tsvetmet. He gave people some valuable advice and tried to get in touch with Kazakhstan's management. However, an attempt to get a response on labor rights compliance failed, as none of the company officials appeared to be at the head office.
There has to be a break from management. Management and the government cannot control the unions, and the key is to involve the members.
News agencies are citing RTS channel's report claiming Switzerland froze Viktor Khrapunov's bank accounts and instigated a criminal case against the former Almaty mayor at the request of Kazakhstan.
Journalists quoted Kazakhstan's inquiry that says that Khrapunov, while serving as Almaty mayor from 1997 to 2000, used his position to boost his wife's financial success. Alleged profits from land deals added up to $250 million. It was also revealed that at this point Khrapunov's accounts and 2 banks have been arrested, although the foreign ministry neither confirms nor denies this information. You should get in touch with them directly, as we're not authorized to speak on this issue. I'd recommend applying to the General Prosecutor's Office. As far as I know, they also have a press service. They have excellent staff that regularly releases information.
Notably, Khrapunov himself is unaware of the criminal case in Geneva. Moreover, he notes learning of such cases against him back in Kazakhstan from media sources. Officially, the former state employee did not receive any notifications, and the fact that the information appeared on the eve of First President's Day is interpreted as a birthday gift to Nursultan Nazarbayev by his close associates. In either case, as Khrapunov stated in an interview to independent journalist Alexei Tikhonov, he is willing to cooperate with Swiss prosecutors and offer relevant information about his savings.
At this point, I have no idea what questions were raised by Kazakhstan when asking for legal aid from Switzerland. Therefore, we are very interested not to lose time and are ready to cooperate with the respective services of the Swiss Confederation, presenting them with all the necessary documents. We are transparent and there is nothing shady about anything we do.
A forced timeout in the hearings over Vladislav Chelok's case in Taldykarghan. The hearings adjourned until Tuesday, December 4th. On Friday morning, those gathered in the courtroom were unpleasantly surprised, having learned that Serik Estiyarov, the defendant's second lawyer, did not appear at the hearing. Several participants in the process expressed obvious discontent.
We are outraged. We want this trial to end and get the results as soon as possible. Of course, we think that they're intentionally dragging it out because it is against our interests. In addition, it shows disrespect to us and the court. It was later revealed that the attorney reasoned he's absent in court with sickness but failed to produce necessary documents to prove it. In the meantime, after a short break, the judge ruled that the hearings cannot continue without the defense. Vladislav Chelok's main attorney Serik Sarsenov complained about his health condition during Thursday's hearing and later departed to Almaty for medical treatment. I can't comment on these lawyers' ethic. Maybe he really got sick and will bring documents proving that. I don't know if he's lying or not. Let it rest on his conscience.
The country's main Christmas tree was lit in Astana. According to the city administration, around 4,000 children gathered at the ceremony. If, however, in years past this was a simple tradition, these days it is a start to celebrating First President's Day. Police officers, lawyers and bailiffs all mark the national leader's holiday in their own way. Some by staging shows, others by organizing consultations. The next report from Astana is on the last day before the big event.
The The personnel of the Interior Ministry is in full rig today, with a solemn march in the background and large banner with the image of Nursultan Nazarbayev on stage. The most distinguished members of the ministry are awarded label badges and letters of appreciation the night before the day of the first president. The ceremony is followed by a concert of patriotic songs. In the meantime, the Board of Legal Advisors decided to make a 100% discount offer to mark the holiday. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., all lawyers in Kazakhstan provided free consultations to the population of the country. Yes, I believe that people coming up with such campaigns will increase the prestige of our president. Citizens will inevitably admit how everything went nice and smooth. Astana Department of Court Officers has done its share as well. Volunteer contributions in the state capital raised over $600, which went into clothes and office supplies for one of the local orphanages. Our goal is to please children on such a great occasion. They should also feel happy on this nationwide holiday. In the evening, about 4,000 children, including orphans, visited the square in front of the president's palace, where the 25-meter-tall main Christmas tree of the country was lit. Unfortunately, President Nazarbayev himself didn't attend the ceremony. Instead, it was opened by a bronze medalist of London Olympics, Marina Volnova. The boxer congratulated those present and used the opportunity to wish for new victories for herself.
A unique gymnasium/cinema was uncovered in Almaty region. For 2 weeks in a row, it is featuring the same film, The Sky of My Childhood. But the children are yet to get tired of the epic about Nursultan Nazarbayev's childhood. They met with its director on Friday. Our reporters were also at the scene.
The stars of The Sky of My Childhood are making their way up to the conference hall stage of the Abay School in Kaskelen. The political epic boasts a great applied relevance, as was evident from the director's high spirits. Making this film was an honor for me. As being a true patriot, I have a great deal of respect for the first Kazakh president. For 300 years we were the nation with no leader, and now we have finally experienced true peoplehood. The film producers might not be aware that their movie has practically become an essential part of the school's curriculum and is screened here every 2 hours. We've been showing this movie to pupils for 2 weeks in a row, and of course we watched it on TV before. One of the many events organized by school is a daily screening of The Sky of My Childhood. These kids are unlikely to have seen the Soviet children's blockbuster Adventures of Petrov and Vasishkin. But Timur Zhaylibayev bears a striking resemblance to Petrov, young anti-hero character who diligently attends almost every screening of the patriotic movie. It's the 6th time I've watched this movie. I like it so much, I just can't get enough of it. I'm ready to watch it 100 times more. These days, the Abay School is a truly unique place. Not only it has The Sky of My Childhood on constant repeat, but unlike in real life, the literal Nursultan Nazarbayev, played in the film by Yildiz Alpiyev, hardly stands out from his peers and in fact gives others flowers, unlike his senior prototype.
What's in a name? Wearing the president's initials isn't just a trend in Kazakhstan. These days, the Nursultans across the country are competing over their quantity and quality, giving reason to start thinking about an entire Nur-related industry. The next story explores the lives of children bearing that special name.
2 brothers from a large Atarau family, Nur and Sultan, share the president's name, while their triplet sister Sara is named after president's first lady. 11 years ago, the man of the family was wise to name his newborn children as a tribute to the presidential couple, which ended up solving their housing problem. Nursultan Nazarbayev gifted his namesakes a new apartment in Atarau and assisted in finishing a house in Kulsari. When we brought the triplets to the president, 2 of them were sleeping in a baby carriage while the other one was awake and crying. Nursultan Nazarbayev made a joke that it was probably Sara due to the baby's stubborn nature. I thanked the president for his assistance, and he thanked us back for the demographic contribution and naming the children after him and his wife. The one-time president's favor doesn't seem to have affected the children's perspectives, who don't take much interest in government affairs. Sara is set to become a designer, while Sultan sees himself as a carpenter. Nur is the only one of the triplets to think state-wise. I want to become a policeman to watch for law and order in the country. I've learned the president's words by heart. He encourages us to protect Kazakh people from all enemies and become honorable ambassadors of the country. Fellow villagers envy the triplets, however they hardly realize the responsibility of bearing names of the country's principal couple. Since their birth, Nur Sultan and Sara feel the burden of always showing wisdom, diligence and outstanding results to be in sync with adults' perception. When naming a child after the president, parents should realize the weight of responsibility they rest on the kids' shoulders. First of all, they must raise their child to be a good man and an honorable citizen of the country. Nur Sultans from Kazakhstan also had to struggle to prove their compliance with the imposing names. The most talented college representatives bearing the president's name gathered to compete in incisiveness, creativity and courage on the first President's Day. Unlike their Atarau namesakes, students from Kazakhstan do dream of political careers. This competition was a serious challenge and a great honor for me, just like bearing the name of the nation's leader. We live in a sovereign and competitive country, providing every growth opportunity to its people. I intend to apply all my knowledge to the benefit and further prosperity of Kazakhstan. In the meantime, the triplets are celebrating the holiday in the apartment once granted by the head of state and are dreaming of a trip to Astana for another chance to meet the president, which just might open up new opportunities.
Ideological innovations in Kazakhstan are more and more reminiscent of the well-forgotten past. Balvadar schools are now equipped with classrooms devoted to Nursultan Nazarbayev. From now on, children of all ages will study the national leader's persona. On the eve of the first President's Day, the rooms adorned with the head of state's photographs and books were presented to the public. Our crew was among their first visitors.
Pupils in Kazakhstan now have a unique opportunity to learn about President Nursultan Nazarbayev's biography and labor achievements. For instance, most Pavlodar schools have been equipped with special classrooms dedicated to the first president. From now on, this is a required attribute of any educational institution. All over the world, our country is associated with the name of President Nazarbayev. These classrooms have been opened to let younger generations understand the president's role in the establishment of independent and sovereign Kazakhstan. Nursultan Nazarbayev is a perfect role model for our children to develop the same leadership qualities. Children are always interested in new things, but they do know who Nazarbayev is, and now he will always stay close. What do you know about Nursultan Nazarbayev? Who is he? He is the main president. He's the president of Kazakhstan. When he was little, he wanted to become a pilot. Meanwhile, local staff also recall their youth. As it were, all teenage problems were usually solved in the so-called Lenin's rooms. Local bullies regretted their wrongdoings there, while young activists swore to the better, clearer and kinder. But all similarities are purely coincidental and superficial, say the teachers. There's a huge difference between Lenin's rooms and our first president's classroom. Since education and science have made great progress, these classrooms have also become more innovative. The first president's classrooms will be launched into operation next week. They will be used to teach younger children about president's biography, while high schoolers will gather there to hold debates on Nazarbayev's phenomenon.
While the country is being entertained on the eve of the big holiday, young volunteers are fighting for the life of a young boy from Shymkent. Activists held a charity show in support of 6-year-old Maxim Damaratsky in dire need of a $200,000 surgery. Time is running out for the young boy. We turn to the next story for more.
Yelena Shvetsova, the leader of the Youth Information Service in Kazakhstan, says her organization runs a similar campaign for the first time, and it is rather exceptional. Volunteers have set up a concert in support of a 6-year-old Maxim, and while Shymkent's creative community responded immediately to the call, certain public officers were quite openly indifferent to the matter.
Мы официально сделали запрос в управление культуры о том, что мы просим помочь нам с предоставлением помещений.
We've sent a formal request to the Department of Culture asking to provide us a location for organizing a charity concert. They sent us to speak with the director, who asks if we had any money. Basically, we were told that they won't give a place without the money.
Мы говорим, нет, у нас нету. Он говорит, ну тогда мы не можем вам провести концерт.
Maxim's mother, Elvira Damaratskaya, says that her son's diagnosis of acute lymphoblastic leukemia was confirmed by doctors a year ago. The boy is now in remission and badly needs bone marrow transplantation. The surgery can only be performed abroad and costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. The family doesn't have the money and can hardly count on the government's help.
Мне сказали, вы даже не пытайтесь, вам квоту не дадут. Сейчас,
I was told not to even try asking for financial aid, as according to Kazakhstan's legislation, my son is in good health. They told me that if I had money, I could send my son for the surgery, but otherwise we need to wait for a relapse. But of course it is very dangerous and I don't want to wait. The boy has gone through 6 courses of chemo and X-ray therapy during the year of treatment. He saw his little friends and ward neighbors pass away. Now he only wants one thing. I wish no one would ever have to go through this. I wish no one was sick as me. I wish everyone was healthy and happy.
Both young and old are celebrating First President's Day. 300 kindergartners took part in a show devoted to Nazarbayev in Astana. Children aged 3 to 6 sang songs, danced, and recited poems. Here's an excerpt of some of the brightest points of the celebration. That is all we have time for now. Don't forget to tune in to Vlast KZ on Monday, and happy First President's Day to all of you.